Sarin is here. I have to pronounce it the proper way, which is Neuendorff. Yeah, I actually never pronounce it that way because I think my last name's hard enough to spell already. And so if I say Neuendorff, then it's just even more confusing. Yeah. And I'm adopted. I don't actually speak German. So I figure I can get away with the American pronunciation. Yeah, so Julie said it just right. Okay, let me make sure my clicker is working. All right, it is. Great. And camera's on. All right, well, thank you very much. So before I start, I want to check something. How many people here are in business? Good, I'm in the right place. Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah. Because sometimes I get invited to speak at groups that are not in business, and I say, well, that's not really my focus. Well, I could speak, but I don't know that it's going to resonate with the audience. All right. So then how many people who are in business would like to do more business? Good, okay, so you'd like to grow your business. All right, then you're in the right place. So we've got a match. Because what we're going to talk about tonight is how to grow your business primarily by being strategic. There are a million different ideas on business growth, no doubt about it. Tonight we're going to talk about using strategy as a way to grow your business. I will give you the Growth Coach's top 10 formula for how we help business owners to grow their businesses systematically. I will share with you 6 different case studies of business owners that have used strategy in different ways to grow their businesses. And I will give you 3 different scenarios that you might find yourself in and relate to the presentation, and I'll show you how you can get out of that scenario. Sound good?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, take about an hour. So all of the information that we're going to cover tonight is pulled from the Growth Coach's strategic mindset process. This is a franchise. So as much as you like the name, I didn't create it. I wish I could. I didn't create my last name. I didn't create my business name. No. I just take good names. So I like the Growth Coach so much that I bought the franchise. And this process that I'll be sharing portions of with you tonight have been pulled from 7 years of franchise experience. So across the country, there are thousands of business owners that have gone through what we call a strategic mindset process. And all of the information on the slides tonight has been pulled from that. It's not all of it because we're just here for an hour. The business owners that come and meet me to get this, meet me for 8 hours. So I had to compress it a little bit. But I've pulled out some of the best information to help you. So this is all concrete, factual information that has been proven to work. So first off, let's get some basic understanding of what does it mean to be strategic. So at a simple level, it really means that first, you've got to have some kind of plan. You have to have a plan on where you want to go with your business. And this sounds natural, obvious, sensible, but what I've found in my experience is that unless I'm sitting across the table from someone that is just started or is in the process of starting up, they don't have a plan. It seems to be the case that when you start a business, you have to have a plan. You feel like starting a business without a plan is pretty foolish. But once the business gets started up, then the plan seems to be just, well, I know how to run the business now, so I'm going to just keep on running it. So I ask people to really get back to the basics. Plan. And then after planning comes that crucial step of actually acting on your plans. It's actually easier to create a plan than to act on it. And I have found that in the years that I've been coaching. I've been coaching business owners now since 2008. And in my experience, I've found that many business owners find it much easier to create a plan than to actually act on the plan. They'll create it, then they'll put it away. And they'll say, well, I already have it in my head anyway. Well, did you do that part? Oh, well, no, I forgot about that part. So that's actually the hard step, the second one. So once you actually start executing it, then comes that looking back, okay, reviewing what have I done, measuring, analyzing, then determining, do I need to make some adjustments? No plan ever works right out of the box. It's just not that way. Even if you buy a franchise and they give you the plan, it doesn't work exactly as you expect or they expect. So you have to have these middle steps, and then you make the adjustments, and then you plan again. So this is it simply. But we go a little further than that, of course. I mean, I covered that with you in 5 minutes. I'm still with people for 7 hours and 55 more minutes. So we have to go a little deeper than that. So on this next slide, we go a little deeper in helping people to understand how you might be strategic or not strategic by giving scenarios that you can relate to. So what I want you to do is look at this slide and read down the left side, going across, following the arrow to the right side, and thinking to yourself, where am I on each of these? Am I on the left or am I on the right? What it means by work a job or build an asset, that's number 5 on the list. Building an asset means that you're actually creating a business that could be sold. You could take that business and sell it to someone else and walk away with cash in your pocket. Many people who are not strategic aren't thinking that way. They're not taking the long-term view that they're building an asset. They're actually just trying to support themselves. And in some cases, they're just trying to survive. But someone who's thinking strategically is actually thinking out further ahead than that. I want to build something that could run itself. I want to be the architect of that and then move on and follow my next passion. This is not what I want to do for the rest of my life. So that's what that means. Reactive and proactive, everyone usually understands that one pretty clear. When you are in the trenches, so to speak, and you're dealing with your business demands from day to day, and as the business is asking you to do certain things and you're reacting, you're being reactive. And if you are reactive on a regular basis, then you find it hard to be proactive and plan for your business because you continue to react. So this is every time your Outlook email dings, you look at the email. Every time your BlackBerry buzzes, you look at the phone. When it rings, you always answer it. You block time on your schedule, but you don't actually ever honor those appointments because there's too much going on. This is being reactive versus proactive. So these things happen. So look down that list and decide, am I working day to day and working really hard, or am I taking the long-term view? Brian Tracy, who's one of the most successful entrepreneurs in our country, he found through his own research that one of the key traits that was in every successful person that he studied and analyzed was their ability to take the long-term view. They were able to look out into the future and see where they wanted to be. And so this is an essential characteristic that Brian identified of successful people. He said, you cannot be successful in business if you can't take the long-term view. And we believe that too. Okay, so on this next slide, I'm actually going to get you into it, and I'm going to ask Julie's help to actually pass out this slide, which I've printed out for you.
No.
Yes, please. So, does everybody already has a pen on the table?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so as you get these, what I want you to do is I want you to go down and check each one, and then score yourself from 1 to 10. 10 being the highest. So you couldn't do any better on this one if you have a 10. Now, this slide's probably hard to read, but it doesn't matter because you're getting it printed out for you. So please take just a couple of minutes, go down the list, and score yourself from 1 to 10 on each one. And if you have a question about what one means, please raise your hand. I'll be happy to answer it.
Michael, what does read mean for the selling process?
Oh, read. Read is actually the growth coach's sales process. It's called READ, and it stands for relate, establish the need, advance a tailored solution, and then develop a commitment. So to answer the question, you don't have to incorporate READ, but you have a sales process.
What was the A?
The A is advance a tailored solution. So based on what the person told you their needs are, you present them with something that fits those needs. That's taken from our Sales Mastery program.
Do you want us to add all of them up?
No, you don't need to add up the scores. The question is, do you want to add them all up? No, you don't need to do that. But I'll tell you, by my count, I believe there's 11 on this list. I think there's 11, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Is it 12? 11 or 12? If your scores are 7 or higher on at least 6 or 7 of these, you're doing well. I don't want you to skip the presentation. Please don't walk out, but you're doing well. If your scores are on average less than 7, and for more than half, then you can really benefit by being more strategic in the way you run your business. And so this is a takeaway for you to look at and think about, how can I start to do these things? How can I get my score higher? How can I get my scores closer to 10? And you should see a direct correlation with business growth, satisfaction of business ownership, ability to take vacations, ability to delegate your work to someone else. You should see all these correlations with your business when your scores are higher on these. Okay, everybody done with this? Good. So let's look at some scenarios. When can being strategic help? So yes, okay, I'm interested in this strategy thing, but let's talk about some real-world examples. So it can help when we feel overwhelmed. How many people occasionally feel overwhelmed? Wait, I didn't finish the question yet. Come on, okay. Yeah, let me finish the question. How many people feel occasionally overwhelmed by the demands of their business? Okay, I can only raise one hand because I'm holding the microphone. But I'll be honest with you, right? I'm the growth coach, but I would raise both hands. I have a part-time staff, that's it. My wife works full-time and overtime regularly. I have 2 kids that are 3 and 6. I have fairly demanding in-laws. I live locally. I took my phone off because I don't want to get any texts from my mother-in-law. So, this kind of thing happens. We get overwhelmed frequently by the demands of our business. And I'm no different. So I admit to my clients that I'm not perfect. I admit to you that I'm not perfect. Right? We have to accept that reality that we're going to get overwhelmed at times. What we need, though, is a solution. And I believe that being strategic is a solution to being overwhelmed, because when you have a plan, it cuts through the clutter. It cuts through the things that are fogging you and distracting you from your clear purpose. We're generally overwhelmed because we don't know what to do next. We have so many things coming at us that we're not sure what to do next. And I know I'm speaking to the choir here because of the nature of your work. But this is different. Most of the people are not as organized as you are. So when they get overwhelmed, they're not sure exactly how to deal with it. So they have to be very clear and strategic on what their plan is. So I want to give you a couple of examples. So I've changed the names of people that I've worked with, and I may not give the exact same business, but the scenario is the same. So Stella owns a business, which is her primary focus, but she also owns a side business, which is her secondary focus. The side business is more like a hobby turned into a business. She likes to do it, she enjoys it, she's good at it, but she doesn't make a lot of money at it. And it certainly can't support her. She feels overwhelmed by the demands of her primary business, and also she feels a nagging guilt by her secondary business. Because her secondary business is always saying, grow me, do something about me, promote me. And so on her voicemail, she'll say the name of the business, and then right at the end, and, which sounds really odd when you call, because you're thinking that she only does this one business, but then she throws in the second one. And so it's a conflict in her own mind. How much time do I spend on the second business and how much on the first one? I've yet to meet a sole proprietor who can successfully run more than one business. Not yet. I haven't met one. So if there's one here, congratulations. You would be the first that I've met. Because there's this inability of our mind to multitask. And this is multitasking taken to an exponential level when you're trying to run 2 businesses at the same time and apportion your time appropriately. If it's a side business, then it should only get 10% of her time? 15, 20? How do you decide from day to day? So the strategy for Stella is what?
Pick one.
Get rid of the second business, exactly. Pick one. From the 10,000 foot view, looking down at the business, you can clearly see that. But Stella can't see it from the inside because she's not looking at her business from 10,000 feet. She's on the inside running it tactically from day to day. So it's clear to us in this scenario, but not clear to her. But now it's becoming clearer to her. And so I predict that within a short amount of time, Stella will have a single business only. And she'll actually make more money and be happier. Irene is actually a little different. Irene has 3 businesses. And so she's constantly overwhelmed and worse than Stella. But it's even worse than that, because while Stella's 2 businesses are quite different, Irene has 2 businesses that are similar but different. The one business, she has clients that compete with her other business. So she has to keep her second business a secret from the prospects of the first business. Right. And then her third business is totally unrelated to the other 2. So what kind of voicemail does she have? And she doesn't have 3 cell phones. She only has 1. So probably she doesn't name any of her businesses. She probably just says, "You've called Irene." And she doesn't know what to say. So she needs to actually go up to 20,000 feet and look down, right? She needs to go a little bit higher because she has a bigger problem. But strategy helps you to clear overwhelm by understanding that I'm overwhelmed because I have too many businesses. I have too many tasks. How can I make more money by actually slimming down my life? Strategy helps that. Because then you realize, okay, I actually need to make money. And when I create a plan, I realize that the best way to make money is to focus on the business that I'm in that I'm probably best at. And that might coincide with what you feel passionate about, or maybe not. Sometimes we can make money at things we're not necessarily that passionate about, and that's okay. It's all right. Maybe you do your passion next. You sell this successful business, then do your passion with money in the bank. So I'm okay with that. Being strategic can also help when our businesses have grown stagnant. There are people that have been in business for quite a long time. 10, 15, 20 years. How many people have been in business for 20 years? A few. 15? Yeah, a few more. Right? When you've been in business 15, 20 years, sometimes you lose a little bit of the energy and the passion for your business. You get a little bit tired. You're not as enthusiastic as you once were about the business. And you no longer make the plans. You phone it in. One day kind of runs into another. Sound familiar? Yeah. Well, a lot of the people I run into have this situation. How can strategy help in a situation like that? So let's talk about Jeff. Jeff is a financial services professional. He's been in financial services for over 20 years. He is successful. He's able to support himself, support his family. He does well. He likes what he does. He still does. But what he didn't realize was that he had grown stagnant. That he was willing to settle to be in an office in a building that was way run down. It was unprofessional where he was situated. And it actually affected how people would look at him and his business. But he didn't realize that. Not deeply. He did on the surface, but he didn't realize it deeply. Once he started looking at, what can I do to change my business? Maybe I have grown stagnant because I don't care as much about some of the things that I would have before. Then he realized, okay, all right, if I'm going to make a plan, if I'm going to start making some changes, first thing is, I'm going to get out of here. So he actually changed offices. That was the first step. Once he changed offices, his whole world changed. Because now he was in a new environment. And it caused him to look at his business differently than he had in years. It was almost like starting over, though he was still providing the same service to the same people. Then he thought, well, now that I'm in a new business location, I'm going to send out some postcards and announce my new address. Hey, that's almost like marketing. That That's something Jeff hadn't done for a long time. He had not marketed except to just say once in a while to some of his clients, I am accepting new clients. That's all he would do for marketing. And he'd get a couple new clients here and there, but they wouldn't necessarily be ones that he wanted because he wasn't doing any target marketing. He was just saying, I'll take some new clients. So he sent out that postcard. Then he realized, hey, this feels pretty good. What else could I do? Well, this is a financial services professional in 2011 with no website. So he thought, maybe I could get a website. And I said, I think that's a pretty good idea. Yeah, it is a good time to get a website. How about partnering with someone else? How about going to market with a business that complements your business and sharing client bases? Oh, yeah, I could do that. I've gotten pretty good at this job that I've been doing for over 20 years, so maybe I could offer some value to other people. So now he's looking at doing joint seminars, he's creating a website, he's doing more than just telling people that he's accepting new clients. But he's not just accepting any new clients, he's accepting specific types of new clients. He knows what type of person he wants to serve, in what capacity, at what revenue level. Wow. His business no longer stagnant. It's now a motorboat, heading down towards freshwater. A lot different than this picture. How about Isaac? So Isaac has been in the retail business for over 20 years, has a store on the peninsula, successful, but he's not where he wanted to be after 20 years in business. He thought he'd be closer to retirement by now. So he's a little disappointed by the timing of the recession and how it affected his business. You know how you always think the markets out to get you?
Yeah.
Right, it always seems like it's all set up to cause you to have problems. Well, that may be how Isaac felt. What he didn't realize, though, is that he had lost a little bit of his energy and passion. He had formerly wanted to open many more stores. When he first started, he had a growth strategy and a plan. But then life got in the way. Things happened. He put it off. Then he put it off a little bit longer. And then he realized, wow, I've put it off way too long. And now I need to make some changes. So when he thought about, what am I going to do for a strategy? Second location. That was the first key decision was, I need to open another store. And that reinvigorated him and caused him to fall in love with his business all over again. Because now he has that challenge that he had 20 years ago, starting from scratch, in a way. New store, new community, new people. So it's all fresh again. Does that mean that mobs of people just came into the store and he just started taking bags of money to the bank? No, not at all. Actually, he's had all kinds of challenges since opening the store. And there were things that got in the way of opening the new store. Roadblocks that came up. That's how it is, right? You realize that it's not just this golden road that's laid out for you when you create a strategy. That's why we have the review, the measure, analyze, adjust. So that's where he is now. He's measuring and adjusting how he runs things at the second store so that it's going to go better. He's still committed to it, absolutely. There's not even a thought that he's not going to continue on with the second store. It's just that it's going to take some work. But now that he has new vigor for the business, I think it's going to work. So here's the third scenario. When can being strategic help? When we need growth. And that's kind of what we're here to talk about tonight. So some of you may be in the situation where you feel like, I have passion, I have energy, but I need more growth. Okay. Well, more growth generally comes with some kind of plan. How are you going to grow your business if you don't have some roadmap to where you want to go? We have to bet on something. So in this case, I want to share with you stories about Dave and Wilma. So Dave is a healthcare professional and has been in healthcare for quite some time. But he's not stagnant. He still loves what he does, very good at it, satisfies a lot of people each and every week. But he needs more growth out of the business. So what can Dave do? Dave's not going to open a second location. He's not going to move. So we need to get growth right out of the business where it is. So what can Dave do? Well, when he started creating a plan, he realized, okay, maybe there are some things that I can do with my business. One thing is, I have space that I'm not using. Maybe I can remodel. So he decided to remodel one of the rooms and bring in outside healthcare practitioners that complement his business. So now he's essentially subleasing his space. So there are other practitioners in his space bringing in their own client base. Some of their clients are referrals from his client base. And so now he's making money without having to perform his service. Again, like Isaac, has it gone like a bowl of cherries? No, it hasn't been that simple. Unfortunately, the people that he brought in, they're not strategic. They didn't really have a plan. So what we're realizing is he's thinking with a plan, executing the plan, but then he's working with people who are not. So, he's running into some difficulties. But he's going to make adjustments and start working with people who are probably going to be strategic the second time around. He's going to be a little more careful about who he works with. But that's not it. That's not the only thing. He also realized, well, I can work on only so many people. Like the dentist that can only clean so many teeth, well, Dave can only perform so many services during the day. So how else can I make more money? Well, I do sell some product to the people that come in. Could you sell more product? Well, probably. But I'd have to train my staff, help them become more salesy, and refer products to patients more often. And yes, I think I could. Well, this plan worked a lot better. He dramatically improved product sales just by doing a little bit of training and encouraging and providing an incentive to the staff. So that's where he found some growth, right in the business that he already has, by making some changes, having a plan, and going about it. So that's Dave. Wilma, financial services professional again, has been in financial services not as long as the former person, only about 7-8 years in this current profession, but has never been as successful as they thought they could be. Always knew inside that I can be more successful than I am. I deserve to be more successful. Why am I not as successful in this position as I was in former jobs? Well, what we figured out is that Wilma was not really working off of a plan. The company gave Wilma a plan, but it wasn't really Wilma's plan. So Wilma needed to create her own plan. And what we realized is that she wasn't utilizing a lot of sales and marketing, that she really needed to market herself more and be a little more sales-oriented when she met with people. Excellent customer service, excellent product knowledge, great follow-up. Everything was there, but not a lot of sales and marketing. So when Wilma changed how she felt about sales and marketing and started thinking about it a lot more often, things started to change. Do you remember during Bill Clinton's presidential campaign, what was his slogan? It's the economy. It's the economy, stupid, right? Yeah, did some of you remember that? Well, for Wilma, it was, it's the marketing. But we didn't say the last word. It's the marketing. And so as we said that again and again and again, it started to drum into her head. Yes, marketing, marketing, marketing. I need to do more marketing. And then when I have a lead, I need to be a little more sales focused. I need to ask for referrals. I need to follow up on those referrals. I just need to be more focused on the sales and marketing. Well, things have gone pretty well. Just recently, Wilma was established as #1 in the nation for the sale of one product, which had never happened before in her career. And this is a very important product to her business. So things went pretty well with her strategy of focusing on marketing and sales. Previously, she didn't have a plan. She needed growth. She created a plan, and it worked. But did it work right away? No, it took about 15 months, actually. So it was not an overnight success. And she had a lot of hard times during that time. Crying times, sometimes. So it was not easy at all. But she remained committed to her plan. And then it started to work. Okay, so then you might be saying, great, I'm convinced. How do we get there? What do I do? Which direction am I going to go in? This would work better if the lights weren't so bright. All right. Oh, thanks, Julie. review, measure, analyze. Jess?
Oh, wait, maybe.
That's good. Oh, wait, that's too dark.
There you go.
That's great.
That's
That's
good on
excellent.
Julie.
Well
Yay.
done.
Yay!
Get a plan.
Exactly, all right, see, thank you very much. Hey, so how do we get there, right? That's where we are now. Well, for starters, you have to face reality. You have to first know where you are right now. If you're not willing to face where you are right now, you can't decide where you want to go. And you can't make that plan to bridge that gap between where you are now and where you want to go. So this is a crucial step that we require of all people in our program, that they face reality. For some people, it's easy. For some people, like Irene and Stella, it's hard. Because the reality is, I need to make big changes. And that's hard. So we have exercises for that. This is one of those exercises. I didn't print this one out for you, but it's pretty simple. I mean, you can just take the note if you want. And by the way, if you want this presentation to reflect on and use, I'd be happy to mail it to you if you would join my mailing list. So I have some books on the back table. All you have to give me is your name and email address, that's all. I'll add you to my mailing list, which is not shared or rented to anyone else, and you'll just get my monthly newsletter. I speak like this on a regular basis on the peninsula. I also have some workshops that I charge some money for, but I write educational newsletters. So if you'd like the presentation, that's my bonus to you, please join my mailing list. And then you'll get these worksheets. All right, so what are my critical business issues? Well, this forces you to face reality. Right? What are the business challenges that I'm facing right now? What are the threats to my business? It's not all bad, though. Once you start thinking clearly about your business, you might actually uncover business opportunities that you've missed. When business owners step away from their business and they sit down and think about their business for hour upon hour upon hour in a quiet, secluded environment, clarity comes and you start to realize, I do have opportunities. And now I can act on some of these opportunities because I have a plan. So this is one of the exercises that we take them through, to face reality. After you face reality, then you have to think about what's next, what's ahead. So I get Seth Godin's blog emailed to me because I just really like him. And he's one of this country's preeminent marketing strategists, writers, speakers. It's actually worldwide. So in a blog post of just a few days ago, he had this paragraph. And I don't typically read my slides, but just in case, I'll read this quote for you. The practice, then, is to start making predictions. In writing, you don't have to share them in public, but the habit will push you to understand your instincts and to sharpen your ability to see what works and what doesn't, without the easy out of having to explain what already happened. So this is fresh from Seth's brain to you. Just a few days ago. You have to practice that rigor of looking ahead, looking out into the future. That's required if you're going to be strategic. You have to take risks and bet. We know how long before Christmas retailers have to bet on what's going to sell? 6 to 9 months usually. Many retailers have already selected their Christmas inventory. And if they haven't, they will soon. Because if they sell any volume, they can't wait till the last minute. So they have to bet. Niels Bohr, he actually distilled it down into something even clearer. It's difficult. It's difficult to predict the future. But we have to try. So we have an exercise for that. One that you've probably seen 1,000 times. How do I want my business to look? Of course. But now you have to write it down. We're not just sitting over coffee talking. You have to write it down. And it's not just 365 days from now. It's also 1,095 days from now. How do you want your business to look? We usually give you a little more space than that. That's for visual interest. All right, so we take you through exercises like this. And these are really helpful exercises to go through What do I want my business to look? This is, a miniature version, right? You're not writing out a detailed 365-day strategic plan, but you're at that 10,000-foot level, and then you take it down and bring it into 9 months out, 6 months out, 3 months out, next week. And this is where people struggle sometimes. It's easy to think a year out, then it's okay, well, how does that translate into what I do tomorrow? So that is difficult, no doubt. But it boils down from goals. These are generally goals. Then it boils down to projects. And projects then throw off tasks. And the tasks are what needs to get done each and every day to get the projects done, which support the goals. So we don't just focus on the business, though. Because I think that having a successful business isn't a good thing if you've neglected important aspects of your life. And so my website is called buildandbalance.com, because I believe that each business that's built up should also be owned by someone that believes in having a balanced life. So workaholics need not apply. Unless you want to change, right? If you want to change and stop being a workaholic and have a balanced life, well then please apply. Because these are the types of exercises that you'll also have to fill out, right? I've been neglecting my health. I stopped exercising a long time ago because my business is too busy. So I found a Dr. Oz workout that was 8 minutes on the Success Magazine's website. Yeah, so there I was in front of my computer on Saturday doing an 8-minute workout, to my computer screen. It's like, I can do this. I can do this. Yeah, I'm not that big, but I need to exercise. I could use a muscle or two. So, this microphone's already getting heavy. So I do need to exercise. And so this is an area that I have to be careful about in my life. Am I balanced when it comes to exercise? Later on in life, that could become pretty serious for me if I continue to ignore exercise as part of my balanced life. Pretty good on the family and the spiritual, pretty good on several of those, mental growth, but when it comes to health, sometimes I have a challenge there. So then what will I do differently? Well, if it means doing 8-minute exercise workouts, that's what I'll do. That's better than nothing. It's a good start. All right, so I promised you a 10-step formula. Right? This is our 10-step formula that we actually drum into our business owners' heads for 2 years. So our strategic mindset process, it's 2 years long. So if you started this year, you wouldn't finish until 2013. Why is it so long? Takes a long time, right?
Farmers, why don't they get their crops tomorrow?
It takes a long time, right? I mean, we've gone through this in a short amount of time, but the fact is, if you've been doing your business for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, making big changes mentally, it takes time. You can accept it at first, but then you realize that, like muscle memory, you fall back into your pattern. And so that's why we do it again and again and again. And then after 2 years, generally people change. 2 years of anything, again and again and again, most people change. So our first step here, we already talked about. Our second step, we talked about. Our third step is being strategically focused, like the worksheet that I showed you where you had to look at the arrows from left to right. That's kind of what step 3 is about. Stop acting like an employee and start thinking like a CEO. Go up to 10,000, 20,000 feet once in a while. Step away from your business and look at it from the outside, as someone else might. Learn how to sell. Learn how to sell strategically. That means following a process. So you asked me what READ is. READ is our simple process. We like simplicity because we believe that simplicity gets done more often. That if it's too complicated, then you hold back from even starting, and then you're likely to stop because it's too complicated. I remember when I pitched my program to Genentech a few years ago, the person at Genentech said, "Your material, much too simple for us." So I said, okay, all right, not sophisticated enough for you. So I stopped trying to market to Genentech after that. Number 5, like having a strategic selling process, use the power of marketing. You know, we had that question that went around that Julie asked during the roundtable. So what strategies are you using? Well, I use the power of marketing. You know, I said, well, when I market one of my workshops, I use 10, 12 different tactics to try and reach people. I don't just rely on 1 or 2 methods. I rely on 10, 12, because I never know where people are going to come from. So I try to leverage the power of marketing to achieve, you know, great growth. Okay, and then number 6, I hope you can see it at the bottom here, but it's about being a leader, not a doer. So it's about delegation, right? Giving the low-level tasks to someone else. You're the owner. You've built up this business. You're worth everything that you charge. You're not supposed to do the low-level tasks. If you don't have anyone to help you, then, well, I guess you're a little bit stuck. And that's a whole nother strategy, perhaps. If you're stuck doing a lot of low-level tasks, that may be hurting your income because you're not using more of your time doing the tasks that you get paid well for. So that's what this is about. You know, be a leader. Create visions. Get people excited. Then after that, you got the people excited, well, then you need to manage them. Right? You need to make sure that, you know, they're doing what they're supposed to do. Employees sometimes don't think like owners. So you have to manage them. Then after that, it's, okay, what's our direction boiled down to the present? Right? Creating a vision is great, as we talked about. You know, 3-year vision is great, but let's boil it down. Let's bring it into the present. So again, you're responsible for that. You know, no one else is going to do that. And if someone else is willing to do that instead of you, and they're not the owner, that sounds funny to me. You know, it should be you creating the vision and the direction for the business. Unless you're a completely absentee owner and you've given that task over to someone else. That's different. Then after that, this is where I think you guys are terrific. Creating systems. You're all about systems, right? Yeah, you believe in the power of systems, definitely. Franchises figured that out a long time ago, and so did professional organizers. But a lot of business owners don't. If they're not following a franchise model, they're not working with a professional organizer or a systems expert, they don't have systems in their business. They're reinventing things all the time. And they're bringing in new people and they have no manual. They have no operations manual. And so they're having to train someone without paperwork, without a manual. That's really hard. What a tough way to run a business without systems. So I'm sure you've helped a lot of people along those lines. And that's definitely a critical step in our process. Then after that, if you've done all these things, you've done, you know, steps 1 to 9, well, congratulations. Why don't you let go a little bit? Why don't you take a break and reward yourself? I find this very interesting that there are people that achieve certain milestones in their business and they won't celebrate. I had a client that came to me after many, many years of having a book in them, and they had still not written that book. After 15 years, they'd still not written that book. And they said, it's in me, and I'm now willing to work with someone to help me get that book done. Well, in the process, he found out they actually had 2 books in him. So he got the one done, and now he wants to think about the second. It's not published on Amazon, it's not like that, but he's done with it in the sense that he sent it to a publisher for review. So then I said, what are you going to do to celebrate? How are you going to reward yourself? He said, I'm going go-kart racing. At Go-Kart Racer in Burlingame, you know, just across the highway. I said, terrific. Are you going to take your girlfriend? No, she wouldn't be interested in that. I'm going to go with some buddies. I said, okay, good. 3 weeks later, how was the go-kart racing? Oh, I haven't done it yet. Really? Why not? Well, I just haven't gotten around to it. It's crazy. The person won't celebrate this achievement that he's had in him for 15 years. Why not? Why not? Don't understand. Can't explain it. And he can't either. That's the really kind of sad part. He can't explain it either. And so we have this as one of our steps. Because you need to learn to let go. Let go of your business. Go out and have some fun. Families sometimes help with that. But if you don't have a family, there's no one else pulling you to go celebrate. And friends are sometimes good at that, but friends don't always know when you need to celebrate if you don't say anything. Right? So don't hide your milestones and your big accomplishments. Then all of this, in my opinion, it's for naught. It's not worth it. Okay, so that's our 10-step formula. And this is our quote that we believe is kind of a summation. That it's about more than what you want. It's so much more than that. It's what you focus on and then go out and execute. Remember, it's super easy to create a plan. It's not that easy to go out and do it. That's the part that you need to celebrate. Whether it succeeds or fails doesn't matter. The fact that you've gone out and executed upon a plan is something to celebrate because you've taken a risk. You've bet on yourself. And that makes you strategic. So here's how to receive more information from me or about me. As I said, if you'd like to join my mailing list, I have books on the back table. I will be happy to send you the presentation if you'd like to have some of the worksheets. My contact info is there. I also have cards here, of course. I am on social media, and I actually use it. I recommend to people that have social media but don't use it, don't tell people. Don't tell people you're on Twitter if you're not on Twitter. Because again, that's planning and not acting, right? Remember, that's the easy part. Getting a Twitter account's the easy part. So actually, I am on the social media if you want to stay in touch with me that way. So, I hope that I've shared with you some insights into being strategic that you can borrow. That I hope one of the case studies that I went over of the 6 different people and their situations might resonate with you. And you might think, yeah, I'm a little like Dave, or I'm a little like Irene, or like Isaac. And I can change just like they did. And I can get the same benefits for my business just like they did. And if so, then I've done my job. And I thank you very much. Julie reminded me, thank you so much, Julie, that I'm giving away a book that is written by the Growth Coach's founder, Dan Murphy, and it's entitled Becoming a Strategic Business Owner. So it has this information and more, not the worksheets, but in theory. You know, it's a book. So if you would like to win this book, please drop your business card into the envelope that Julie has. If you don't have a business card, please use the paper that's on the table, and all you have to do is write your name on there. You are not joining my mailing list by entering the book drawing. So don't worry about that. Okay? If you want to join my mailing list, you need to take a specific action to do that and write your information down. Push the button.